Big Chicken Morning Show, B103, the ATL's number one for hip-hop, R&B, and throwbacks. Queen Shimia Morton.
Hey, best friends.
Comedian Miss Pepe.
Good morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, Big George Foreman is here.
And big, indeed, he
Khris
is.
Davis, who is playing Big George Foreman. Brand new movie out in theaters April 28th. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Listen, you're playing a huge character.
Yeah.
A huge man.
Icon, really. Yeah.
What was it like being George Foreman?
Well, you know, I can't be George Foreman. I can only be me. But
Right.
it was a huge responsibility taking on the task of trying to emulate some specific details about him because everybody knows George Foreman. Either you know the fighter,
Right.
or you know the grill guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
But everybody knows him so well that it was, you think it's easy to mess up. So, I mean, when I got the role, it was about being intentional and specific about telling his legacy and doing it justice.
Amen.
You know.
So did you get a chance to actually sit down with the icon,
Yeah.
and did he help you prepare for this role?
I spent 3 days with Mr. Foreman in Houston.
Wow.
And,
What was that like?
Well, honestly, you know, I'm not an interviewer, but I'm supposed to go and ask him all these questions.
Right.
But I'm sitting across from him, and all I can do is stare at him.
Wow.
You know, and he's sitting there and he's talking, and then he stops, and then he keeps digging for things to try to say, and then something in the back of my head said, "Khris, ask the man a question," because I'm just staring at him. All I wanted to do was give him deference because this is George Foreman.
Right.
I never
Yes.
thought that I'd be sitting across from such an icon. You know what I mean?
Well, I like that they only had two. You played 18 to 45. I love that. You bodied that role. and let me tell you something. That had to be not easy because George Foreman light skin. I don't think he's as tall as you. Hey, back. You see these bags up under my eyes. I was there watching you last night. And I don't be watching nothing but the Blacklist. But that's a good movie, y'all.
Yes.
Yeah, y'all got to go out and watch this movie. This young man played George Foreman. I was cheering for you. I thought I could box. I was hitting my husband all night.
So I gotta ask, Khris, are you a fighter naturally? Like, do you got hands? Can you throw?
Am I a fighter naturally? Yes. But I was never a fighter in the sense of being a trained martial artist like
Got you.
boxers.
Right.
Oh.
So this was my first time gloving up, doing any boxing training at all.
Oh, you fight like me.
He's like, I'm giving Nuck if you buck.
For sure.
And then,
For sure.
George's style is not your average boxing style.
It's not your average boxing style.
George, this right here is this
Come on,
right here.
Pig!
No,
No,
look, George
man.
hits.
You know, the thing is, he did destroy people in the ring.
Facts.
And that was what he wanted to do. But what I also wanted to do with this film was to do his boxing career justice by showing the intellectual side of his abilities.
Right.
Because George was an intellectual fighter. He was a smart fighter, and people don't understand that about him. So when you watch some of his old fights, you can see just how much of a technician he was.
Any parts in this film surprise you? Any parts about him or his life surprise you that make you say,
Most things about Mr. Foreman surprised me. Before I got the film, all I knew about him was that he was the fighter that Ali had to get through. He was the hurdle and the grill guy.
Right.
So everything else was new to me. All the information was new to me. I hadn't watched any of his fights before Ali or after. I didn't even know he had a second comeback, and I was around for
He
that.
came back
right?
like a grown
Yeah,
man,
I was
right?
around for that, and I didn't even know. So everything. I mean, even his religious experience.
Right.
So I'm sure he's seen it by now. And has he given you any critiques or any feedback on it?
No critiques, but he did say that he saw it and he would watch it 1,000 times over.
Hey, man.
Aw,
That's
that's awesome.
I got another question. Did you get any grills free?
Nobody gave me a free grill, man. Nobody gave me a free grill, man. But when we wrapped, they gave me a They gave me a cast iron skillet with his face on it.
That's awesome.
Cornbread.
But God, like, I don't think they sell that.
No,
They say that-
yeah.
Talking
You gotta
to
know
Khris
how to
Davis
cook.
this morning, who is playing the huge icon of Big George Foreman out in theaters April 28th. What would you say the biggest challenge was of bringing that role to life?
I think the biggest challenge was humanizing the brute.
Right.
Right? Because everybody wanted to see the guy who was brooding and full of rage. So bringing the more human aspect to Mr. Foreman's experience, which is true. When you read his autobiographies, you get the sense. When you even see the interviews that he does, you can see the small sparks in there through his smile and through his eyes when he's trying to make connections with people. But when it came to fighting, I think that was the biggest challenge for me because he was such a specific fighter.
Right.
So getting his movements down to be very specific, because I didn't want fighters first and foremost to come and see this and be like, that dude can't fight.
His form
That
is
dude
off.
can't fight. He can't throw a punch. I didn't want them to look at me and say, oh, he's not moving like Mr. Foreman. So I was very intentional about how deep I wanted to go with the specificity, and having Daryl Foster as my coach, who also helped coach Will Smith for Ali and Miles Teller for Bleed for this. You know, he was like, look, we're going to treat it like fight camp. We're not going to train for a movie. We're training for the heavyweight belt. Yeah, so.
Fight camp? I'm sure your body was super sore.
Oh, it was crazy. I thought I was going to die. I mean, that's not an exaggeration. I thought I was going to die.
Okay.
I was standing in the gym. I remember I was standing in the gym, and we had been training for about 4 weeks at this point, and, you know, a couple of guys had come in and we sparred a little bit.
We got punched.
Oh yeah. No, actually, in the film we make real contact. That's all real contact.
Oh wow.
So I'm standing in the gym. I'm looking around. Everybody left, and I was like, man, they might have the wrong guy for this. I don't know how actors do this, right? A few days later, a hurricane hits New Orleans.
Oh wow.
Tore the roof off the production office and rained on everything.
What?
So that put us back 3 more months. So I had 3 more months to train and to get ready and to take my time. So, yeah.
Wow.
Well, listen, we're all excited about it. Big George Foreman in your theaters April 28th. Khris Davis, nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you,
wonderful
too.
job in the movie. We
Yes.
encourage everybody to
Yes.
go see Big George Foreman. Anything else you got coming up? I mean, we know we talking about this, but I know you working.
Yeah, man, you know, what's in the pot is in the pot.
Khris Davis is Big George Foreman. The movie's out in theaters April 28th. Thank you for joining us this morning, sir.
Go see it, y'all.
We appreciate it. Big Ticket Morning Show coming back with that 8 o'clock morning motivation mix next with DJ Technology on V103.